make the analogy with music, and when you hear a song on the radio, there may be a royalty paid to the artist, maybe to the recording studio, and maybe to actually not the person who sang it, but maybe the person who wrote the song. And mining royalties are much the same. When you see a mine in the final end product, it may be that there is a royalty to the person who discovered it initially, and there is a royalty to the company that took it along that journey, and there may be a royalty to the local landowner as well in some jurisdictions. And so a royalty essentially is a right to receive a certain amount of revenue from a mine, typically gross royalty revenues, and that is really what Elemental's business is about, focusing on royalties, gross royalties typically, or net smelter royalties as they're called in precious metals, net smelter return royalties on different mines. Is that often a good quality operator, they don't need to write a royalty on their mine. They can raise money through the capital markets or through debt themselves. And so all the royalties to date that we have bought, one way or another, have been third-party royalties. And so going back to my analogy, we have been buying royalties, from the artist, or from the recording studio, or from the song creator, rather than the end product. And in a mining term, that means sometimes we're going back to the original exploration geologist, or we're going back to a junior company that had it before, or even in a number of the cases, larger corporates who had a royalty or had some involvement in the mine and sold their stake and kept a royalty on it. The company's focus going forwards has always been about reducing the risk, and the sooner we can get to a diversified portfolio of 5 or 6 good quality producing royalties, the sooner we're in a position where, for example, you take COVID in the current environment, it's very possible for a mine to shut down for a prolonged period of time because people go into travel restrictions in place, you can't get parts, people can't travel, goods can't come to and from. And I think the benefit of the royalty model is if you have 4 or 5 different mines in 4 or 5 different countries with 4 or 5 different operating teams and companies who manage them, you really reduce your risk from the outset. And because we have very low overheads in the royalty business model, we don't operate any of the assets ourselves, it enables us to be more diversified than a lot of mid-tier, much bigger mining companies. It's actually a really good opportunity, because if you can take advantage of the market that really knows the royalty space, knows it well in North America, and then you can, if you say, ride the wave of increasing awareness and interest in royalty companies from mining investors in the UK and Australia, then I think that probably gives you, opens more doors. It gives you more opportunities. And we've definitely we've got a strong contingent of investors from both Europe and Australia, and I think that that always brings something different to the table. One of the challenges is always to attract more capital into the industry to fund future development. Historically, it has been a cyclical industry, partly because of shortage of capital, partly because of commodity prices. And I think that if royalty companies can actually attract capital, because investors see them as a more diversified, with less risk way to play the market, it then enables royalty companies to provide more money to the operators. And actually, I think everything that the mining industry can do to some extent to reduce that cyclicality is probably beneficial for the industry as a whole and all the communities and environments who are employed or supported by mines.